Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and it's Women's History Month, and I'm here today to talk to you about Hetty Feathers Season 2. Season 2 is a heck of a lot more emotional and just profound than that of Season 1. There are 3 extremely powerful episodes that are extremely so emotional that they will get you choked up, if not teary-eyed and everything. It is that powerful by some really powerful performances. It's just heartbreaking and everything. You can't help but to feel just devastated when you watch these 3 episodes. Also, season 2 gives us more character interaction with the supporting cast and stuff. So that's a good thing, because in season 1 they didn't get much to really say or do. Some get a bit more to do than others. But there are some that get a bit more. But then there are those that don't get that much. And in this season, we will lose characters. Some will be they leave the Foundling hospital. One person dies. Yeah, they went there. They went there and they killed off one of the kids and stuff. And we will also get a brand new interesting character. Now, this season deals more with... It's still Hetty versus Bottomley, the matron and stuff like that. But the matron, while still evil, she's not as evil and cruel as she was in season 1. They kind of toned her down just a scotch, but in those some scenes when they have to make her evil again, they make her super evil. But she's not as conniving as she was in season 1. I guess they didn't want to, show the adults being too mean to these kids, but whenever they have to, they do. Nurse McAfee gets a whole lot more to do this season, other than Miss, I think Winfield, I think her name is, which is odd, because Winfield is actually from the books, so you assume she would do more. Also, Gideon only gets one story arc this season, and he's kind of forgotten about in the series, which is really odd, because once again, he's actually from the books and everything. Matthias gets a whole lot more to do. And that's really bizarre, because Matthias is made up and McAfield is made up. So I don't understand why they gave those 2 characters a whole lot more to do than they did the 2 characters who were actually from that of the book. It's really odd and bizarre. I don't know if it's just because Matthias is a more popular character, because the actor Gus got nominated for something. But then again, it could just be the entertainment business being the entertainment business and looking at a certain skin tone and being all let's kind of reduce these roles and up these other roles and stuff. You know how the entertainment business is. I don't care what country you're in, especially in the one that caused so much hate to begin with around the world and stuff, But I digress. And we also get to see more of Mr. Cardboard, I think his name is, which is something that was kind of lacking a little bit in season 1. Just slightly and stuff. So I do like this character elevation with a lot of these characters and stuff. Sheila kind of takes a back seat somewhat. She's not as mean as she was last season, because now she has competition. But once that competition kind of dies down, then she does one of the most despicable things ever that comes straight from the book. And I knocked my camera over. And even though I never read the book, from what I can tell by certain things I have read online, this season seems to follow somewhat very closely to the overall arcing theme of Ida, like they did in the book. And, I just want to give it up to Isabel Clifton. My God, How in the world has this woman never been nominated for Hetty Feather? It just dumbfounds me, man. She breathed too much life into this role to where you think Hetty Feather could literally be a real person, and yet she has never been nominated or won anything. I don't understand that. She is amazing as Hetty Feather and stuff like that. And it's just like I'm just speechless and everything. I'm truly just speechless. Like the dude, like I said before, Gus, who played Matthias, he got nominated in season 1. I think he even won. I'm not sure if he won or not. And he's in season 1, but he's not in it like a lot. But she's in every freaking episode and everything. I don't understand how she got snubbed. I really don't. It's just weird and stuff. But Hetty Feather is one of those type of shows that is meant for kids and teens, but even adults can watch it because of its material and stuff. And that's all because of Jacqueline Wilson, who wrote the books and stuff. And, I really enjoy that. Like, you don't know how often I'm just like flipping through like content on these streaming apps and everything, trying to find some type of adult drama or action series, and I can't find something. Then all of a sudden, like a teen drama comes out, and it's so much better than the adult dramas. Like, I am telling you, this is so good. Now you can watch this on BY. What is it? Is it BYU TV or is it BY TV? Or is it BU TV? What did I say last time? I forgot. I'll type it in the thing below. But yeah, I think it's like some type of Lutheran Mormon app or something like that. But whatever, man. They got some shows on there I like, so that's cool and everything. And they are literally the only streaming site that I know of that will let people watch Hetty Feather, because this is on DVD, but not in North America. Ugh. Because the DVD players won't play it. That pisses me off, man. There are some British shows that I love to death, and I cannot buy on DVD, and it frustrates me. Ooh, it frustrates me. But like, Hetty Feathers is one of those special type of shows that is just kind of like you can't help but to fall in love with this show. And I'm so glad that they upped the ante in season 2. Because, they are young. They're now 13, you know what I'm saying? They're starting to discover who they are. They're starting to have crushes on people. Some people are starting to have teen angst. And they are debating what they're going to do for their future, which they can't do much because they are foundlings and everything. I told you that before. They are orphans brought there as babies whose parents were either single moms and could not take care of them, or people who lived on the streets or in the workhouses or something like that. They are brought there when they were babies. And then when they're about like 2 or 3, they go to like the foster system. Then when they're about 5, they head back to the foundling hospital. And the foundling hospital is basically, it teaches the girls to be maids, and it teaches the guys to be soldiers and stuff, so they can fight in the army. Once you graduate around age 14 or so, you have to make it out into the real world. If you can't make it in something, or you can't find a trade like singing, dancing, performing, doing the printing press, or just something like that, then you're going to end up on the streets and in the workhouse. And the workhouse is a place you do not want to go. They were some of the most disgusting things in London back in the day. I believe they are all shut down now. And it's crazy. Like, I never knew any of this stuff before I watched it. This show is educational, man. This is what I love about period pieces. They will teach you more than what you will learn in school. And of course, because I'm an American, I don't learn about British stuff. And so, like, I never knew about Foundling Hospital. I never knew about the workhouses. The workhouses are just disgusting, man. And with the Foundling Hospital, they change your name. They give you Christian names and stuff like that. They say they do it, well, at least in this show, that they say they do it to protect the child in case some random person comes up who knows the person's name and tries to get them. Now, the parents can come back and get them, but they have to be at age 14, and the parent has to be, of course, an adult, naturally, and they have to have like a job, and they have to be married and stuff like that. And nobody's allowed to adopt them, but rules get broken in this show. It is not the type of life anybody will want to live, because it's basically your life is predestined for you to work in servitude. And it is disgusting. And when you see this show day in and day out, all they do is chores. The girls, they do laundry, they wash. Well, they don't really do dishes, but they do laundry. They scrub the floor with little hand brushes. Oh my God, that's terrible. And the guys do gardening. And also, they learn to like be in the military. Now, in this season, we don't see them do the military stuff that much at all. They just do like the gardening. But one thing we do see them do that we really didn't get to see them do last time is schoolwork. Yes, they really put an emphasis big time this season on schoolwork. I guess maybe it was mandated for like the network or something like that. Now, from what I read online, there was little to no school activities in the foundling hospitals and stuff. Why that is, I don't know. But it's just like, I guess, forget it. It's to keep the poor, and the rich, the rich. I swear to God about people, man. Like, it's just terrible. And it's just like, why not educate them better instead of just like, because the thing that really hurt when watching this show is like, they will put on like, these events and these fundraisers and stuff on the show in the Foundling Hospital, and they will have the kids literally serve these rich adults, and then the matron be all like, this is all made possible by our foundlings, give them a round of applause. And just seeing all these rich stuck up people applauding these little kids who are orphans and work extremely hard for nothing, like it's so sad. You know what I'm saying? It's just so sad. And now I know why every time you watch like a television show about like a British butler, you always hear the phrase, oh, it's my life to serve. I love serving. And, like I was destined to serve. Now I see why. You know what I'm saying? I always wonder why that phrase is always getting uttered. And that's because some people literally had no choice. And so let's get into a couple of character profiles very briefly before I get into those three emotional episodes and then the main stars and what the plot of this season's about. Let's start with Polly and everything. She's only in 2 episodes. No! Polly is described as Hetty's best friend, which you will never get that impression, because even though they do have screen time together, you never get the impression that they're best friends. You always get the feeling that her and Harriet are best friends and stuff. But then last season, in the 10th episode, yeah, she does rally to help Hetty out, so that was something cool. But for the most part, you really don't see that. And so she's only in 2 episodes. And she's barely in them. Like, she barely has anything to say. But in the 2nd episode, this rich family sees her and the wife faints. Why? Because she reminds them of their dead daughter, and she wants to adopt Polly. That's against the rules. So they talk to Matron and Crumborn. And Matron's all like, oh, we don't allow adoption here because the parents might come back and everything. But they're all like, oh, we'll make a sizable donation. Now, you know, bottomly, boy, she loves that money. And she's tempted to say yes, but Crumborn remembers what happened last season when Hetty was about to get supposedly sold, which she almost did. And he stopped that and everything because he suspects that maybe it might be true. And so, like, he stops her. But then they go to Colonel Brigwell and everything. The Colonel that I never mentioned in the last season. But he's kind of like part of the Governor Society. He oversees this, when it's time the young boys go into service, he'll be the ones to take them, stuff like that. He's all like, oh, a donation? Sure, it's a lot of money and everything. And I'm just like, you gotta be kidding me. So if he were to find out Matron sold somebody, you would probably assume he would be okay with it and stuff because he took this sizable donation, but it's from a wealthy family, as opposed to selling them into like a factory or something. But anyways, this is shocking Crumborn and everything, but they do it anyway. So Hetty's all like, no, you can't go. They're toughs and everything. And like, so she tries to make Polly look sick with flour and raspberry jam. And it looks convincing, but the matron can smell. And so, yeah, sadly, Polly goes, and it's sad to see that happen, because you don't want Hetty to lose what friends she has, because she lost Mary last season. Well, the family tells Polly you can visit anytime you want, and Matron's all like, you can write her anytime you want. Here's her address. As soon as Polly is inside the coach and rides off, she's all like, can I visit tomorrow? And they're all like, oh no, dear, this is your life now. Meaning she's about to be a rich girl, and rich people don't associate with poor people. So sadly, we never see Polly ever again. Now she does leave in the books, but I don't know why, because the online doesn't say. As for the matron and the address, when Hetty's all like, hey, where's the address? It's a blank sheet of paper. They trick both the little girls because they don't want them to associate with each other anymore. That is so messed up. So now all Hetty has is Harriet and, of course, the guys. McAfield's role has expanded this season. She's more stern and a little more nastier like the matron. But this season, they make her into the comic relief. She's stressed out as can be, and she's constantly running around. She's mean and nasty, but they did make her into the comic relief. I'm glad they expanded her role, but I wish they would have gave equal footing to both her and Winterfield. Hey, not Winterfield. Winsterson, I think that's what her name is. Winsterson. Nurse Winsterson, I think that's her name. I think I said Winterfield last time, but anyway, she is kind of barely in this season. Now she's the nicest of all the nurses, but her role, like, she's more stern this time. Like, because Hetty is breaking the rules a whole lot more than that of season 1. Basically, when Hetty writes Jim and Jim writes her back, she delivers the letter to Hetty because, they're not allowed to get letters there. But she tells Hetty, this could never happen again. She does it one more time in season 3. It sucks that her role got reduced because she is from the books and everything. So that just really sucks that happened. But all the nurses, she is the nicest. Jim, he sneaks on over and gets conned by Vince and Judd. Basically, he tells Hetty that, he can't come by anymore or even write letters because, he's not allowed to. But because their foster father, which is his biological father, is very ill and really sick to where he has to be the man of the house and help take care of the mother and stuff. Because, women aren't allowed to do much over there in those days. This is the 1800s. I think it's 1886, I believe, probably. And so he has to run the farm. Now, they recast his role for some bizarre reason. This is the third actor to play him. Eliza. They recast the role of Eliza. Whoo, she is bad this season. Basically, there's a flea outbreak in the junior section, so the juniors have to stay with the seniors. And she really, really, really wants to be close to Hetty this season because that's her foundling sister. She doesn't really want to hang out with Gideon that much. Like, why, man? He's so cool. Anyway, so like, she's a brat this season. So because she wants to be with her big sister and everything, she's treating her friends and the other juniors like crap. Basically, when one tries to sleep next to Hetty, she throws that person pillow like, no, this is my sister. Get your own and everything. And it's like that for the next 2 or 3 episodes and stuff. And it's really irritating to see because in the first season, she was only a brat because Matron chopped her hair off and she wanted revenge. Now it's just she's being evil for the sake of being evil. When she finds out Hetty gets a letter from Jim, she wants to, like, know what it's about and this and that. And Hetty will tell her, hey, look, I can't read it out loud right now because there's people around, so I'll read it later. She never does. And this pisses her off to where she burns all of Hetty's journals and stuff. And then at some point they go back to like the junior section and she even steals like the other girls' candy to give to Hetty at one point. So when she's back in the junior section, the other girls kind of gang up on her like, oh, you ain't got your big sister around to protect you now. So needless to say, she runs away, but she's still in the foundling hospital, just somewhere on the campus. And so Gideon finds her, and they finally get to have a scene together. And he tells her his problems and she tells him hers and stuff like that. And it's to the point where she comes back and she apologizes for, being a bad person. It's just that she wanted to be close to Hetty and stuff. She doesn't have Jim no more. Remember in the books, him and Hetty had like they had crushes on each other and stuff. But he promised her the exact same thing. Harriet. Now with Polly gone, Harriet is that of Hetty's best friend. Now in the book, she's aged up by 5 years and takes Hetty under her wing. They kind of do something similar here, even though they're the same age. Basically what it is that Harriet tries to keep Hetty out of trouble, but it don't work. Every time Hetty has to sneak off, Harriet always covers for her, and Harriet is always that worry wart, like don't do that and don't do this, but Hetty does it anyway. Now in this season, Matthias has a crush on that of Harriet, and she has one back on him. And so she gets a testimony to work in this fancy lady's place. And with that testimony, she'll be able to, like, be a maid in a very rich person's home. And so, like, when Hetty breaks the rules and everything with this letter, because see, Hetty wrote a letter from Matthias to that of Harriet, because that's what he wanted. But the matron got it by mistake. It's kind of like that old sitcom thing where the letter gets passed around, a love letter, and they don't know who it's from. So teen drama. And so after a while, Hetty's all like, hey, I'm gonna play a joke on her and write more letters. She finds out, she's pissed, and she blames both Hetty and Harriet because Blanche ratted both of them out. So Matron literally got rid of Hetty, not Hetty, but Harriet, by sending her to that fancy lady's home, even though she's not of age, and this is supposed to be illegal. She's there and everything's good until Matthias snuck out and talked to her. She gave him like a cupcake and he snuck back into the foundling hospital. The butler saw her and well, she got fired and she won't be able to work there until 1 year later and stuff. Other than that, she has that of Hetty's back. And those two seem more like best friends than that of Polly and Hetty. Vince and Judd, they have a much bigger role this season than they did last season. They kind of take over the bully part from that of Sheila and stuff. And she kind of like takes a back seat. Basically, these two are little scammers. Vince is like the leader, and Judd just like follows along. Judd's a bit nicer and will literally tell, okay, hey, look, we did something bad, blah, blah, stuff like that. Vince is just a schemer. His whole motivation in the beginning of this season is to get a football made of leather. Not an American type football, like, a British type that's just like a round circular ball. And the only way he can get it is by like stealing stuff from like the Foundling Hospital, stuff that the girls have. And he gives it to the milk delivery boy. And any other kind of money he can scam or steal and this and that, or pastries or food and all kind of stuff, right? And he's trying extremely hard, but he's not succeeding because most of the stuff he still gets like, taken back and everything. Only until Crumborn just brings in a ball out of nowhere and it's like, oh, okay. Other than that, his whole motivation just to be the bad boy. He doesn't like the group of guys that's Matthias' friends and stuff. Every time, like, him and Judd have like something scheming, Matthias or one of the other guys, they snoop and they stop them. Him and Matthias hate each other, similar to how Hetty and Sheila are. He is just a major, major, major bully in the show. And the thing is, he's a scaredy cat, but like he's always antagonizing people and he loves to steal. Like when this lady came, this lady who's like an explorer, he stole one of her things and blamed it on Matthias. Matthias just kind of took it because he's not a snitch. And, this is the kind of like crummy person that he is. Gideon really doesn't have much to do this season. Like, it's really odd. They bring back up, like, his singing thing, right? But the thing is, it's like his voice is getting deeper because he's going through puberty. Because of that, the singing coach has to reject him. And so basically he's like, try out next year and maybe you can get it. This really upsets him because singing is what he really wants to do because he's not good at military stuff. And so he's sad and upset and depressed because he doesn't understand, like, you know what I'm saying? And so this happens a lot with actors, man. Like, you see like a kid actor, they become a teenager and all of a sudden their voice change. They lose their acting ability for some bizarre reason. Like they just unable to like atone to that and adjust to their new voice. Anyway. So he's too embarrassed to tell everybody, so he lies. And then it's when Vince finds the note, reads it out loud to everybody. He is utterly embarrassed to the point where he wants to run away, but can't. This is when he finds Eliza. And, they had that heart to heart. And it's a really touching heart to heart because these two never have any scenes together. Even though they're foundling brother and sister, but he never met her because she was just a baby when she came in. And he was just a kid and stuff. Now, as for him and Hetty, they still interact and they still hug each other when they see each other, which is really sweet. But they don't hang out as much, even though she keeps saying, oh, I have to be with my brother and stuff like that. But they don't really interact that much. He's mostly just hanging around Walter and the other guy with the glasses. And pretty much they're always trying to stop Vince from doing whatever cockamamie thing Vince comes up with. And it's really odd, like I said before, his role got reduced because he's actually one of the guys from the books. Every other guy's made up for the show. Now, like I said before, Matthias has a lot more to do this season and stuff. He is the leader of his group. He still does not want to join the military. When his friend with the glasses wants to join the printing press because he loves the printing press, he makes it so that guy can't like join it and stuff. And it's really messed up that he would do that crap, but he did it only because they had to help Hetty and stuff. But it's just really jacked up that because it's weird, because, Walter wanted to go in the military, and then he couldn't because he followed in the footsteps of Matthias. Then the other dude wanted to go into the printing press type business, and that got forward for him. And so other than that, he's always stopping Vince. Those two nearly almost get into like a fist fight and stuff. But then when that explorer lady comes by, he realizes this is a perfect opportunity for him not to go in the military. He can explore the world because she tells him she's a woman and she's able to explore something only men were allowed to because the world was changing. Because you gotta remember, this is like the late 1800s and the 1900s are coming up, and that's when the world really started to change and stuff. And so he develops a crush on that of Harriet, but he gets her busted and kicked out of her job. But it's cool that he's like, he has a crush on her. But the thing about Harriet is that in the book, she never marries anybody or even dates anybody. Now, when Vince really pissed him off, he revealed a little bit of what happened in season one when he was taken captive. He literally said he was beat a lot by that man that tricked him and stuff. And he confesses that to that explorer lady. So it is nice to finally kind of understand what happened in that bizarre time he was missing in season one. There's a lot more Crumburn in this season as well. He kind of takes a more backseat to Matron than somewhat. Yeah, if they felt a little bit more authoritarian last season, but also cowardly and stuff. But she runs the hospital no matter what. But this season is just like I don't know. He's really subservient to her like a lot. Now she finds out that he has a wealthy uncle, but his uncle is dying. So the wealth and fortune will go to that of his cousin, but his cousin is missing in Australia. So she's kind of like, this is a great way to get some money. So she starts flirting with him, taking an interest in him, talking to him more, having dinners with him and everything. This woman would do anything for money. Now, his father shows up for one episode, and it's kind of pointless because not much happened with his father. His father's a reverend, and his father's very scary, very stern. And his father tells him that, with your uncle dying, I'm going to have to take over the estate and I'm going to need some help. So you got to leave this hospital and everything. And that's that. Well, when he gets a letter stating that his cousin has been found, the matron is not too thrilled and she calls off dinner with him. Just like dumps him like that. He realizes what she was about, but he doesn't call her out on it. I wish he would have, because that would have been so cool if he did, and it made him have more of a backbone. But don't you worry, he gets a backbone later on because she thinks the colonel likes her because of Hetty's letter. And so because of that, he has a very you can tell this man what he's thinking just by his facial expression. They are as stern as they come. And so at some point, the matron has been making mistakes left and right, especially when she tried to come on to that of the colonel. He doesn't like that, and he offers Cornburn a higher up position where they have joint custody over the hospital. Matron does not like that. She does not like that at all, but he's showing his backbone towards her. Then something tragic happens, and he really has to show his backbone, even though he does not want to. Blanche. Blanche is a brand new character introduced. Matron is away for nearly an entire episode. She goes to get a girl and she locks her away in the closet. This girl is Blanche. She used to be a foundling back in the day and best friends with that of Monica. But Matron sold her, being the matron, into like a clothes factory. Well, one of the girls got their arm ripped off and she got burnt. So they gave her back to Matron. And so what don't make no sense is when she's found, she had a captive and she told her, I'm going to send you to the crazy house and everything and all this other crap, because Matron just doesn't want to be found out. But Hetty finds her, and so does Sheila and stuff. And so Hetty's all like, this is my perfect opportunity to get rid of Matron. She can go to jail. But Blanche ends up betraying Hetty by keeping the matron there and just said how Matron found her and helped her. So as a result, she gets to stay there. And she pretty much blackmails the crap out of Matron. She gets to do what she wants when she wants. And she's a very nasty, mean little girl. Now, what don't make no sense is that how does none of the other staff not remember this girl? Like, if she was best friends with Monica and stuff at a very young age, then somebody had to have noticed that one of the girls is missing. So that part is like a big plot hole. But anyways, so she there, she doesn't do nothing, and she's rude to Hetty and stuff. And but that's the only person she's rude to. She's rude to Sheila and them as well. She pisses off Elizabeth, and Sheila realizes, oh, you're gonna need friends in the inside, kind of talking like prison talk. But Sheila realizes, oh crap, this girl is the boss. This girl gets to do what she's want, and she's meaner than Sheila. So Sheila becomes kind of like almost trying to be her friend so that they can get privileges as well. Well, here's the thing. Monica keeps coming to her and be all like, we used to be best friends and blah, blah, blah. Don't you remember? And she's like, no. But then the girl has nightmares because of what happened at the factory. And she sleeps next to Monica because she just doesn't want to be alone. But in the morning, she ditches Monica and she makes Sheila and Elizabeth be mean to Monica. And so then all of a sudden she's being nice to Hetty, and then she's being mean to Hetty. Then she rats out Hetty and Harriet because see with the whole letter thing, she wanted Hetty to stop before things get too serious, but Hetty would not stop. This is like the one real bad thing Hetty's ever done in the series. And so Hetty literally makes fun of Blanche because she can't read and stuff. This causes her to be pissed and rat them out. But then when she finds out it got Harriet kicked out, Hetty gives her that good old speech, and she turns around to help Matthias because remember he snuck out and everything. And so now she's on their side helping them because she really hates Matron and stuff. But the thing is, all she has to do is go to the police and tell on Matron, but she don't. Blanche is a really odd and interesting character. She could take Matron down at any point she can, but she says that she's safe there. And while there, she has a home and food. But once she turns 14, she's going to have to get out. And so the thing is, she's all about herself, even to the point of snitching on Sheila and Elizabeth. See, what happened was when all the rich people was there and all their jackets and coats and everything else was in this room, she's all like, let's pretend to be rich. So they all put on like the jackets and the hats. But then she runs out to go get Matron, only for Sheila and Elizabeth to get busted. And that's because the thing about Blanche is she's just like, she doesn't want friends. She doesn't want nothing. Like she was upset when she found out Monica died. But then after that, she goes back to being a brat. Monica. Oh my God, poor Monica. So here's one of those tragic episodes, right? So Monica's all happy about Blanche coming back, but Blanche doesn't want nothing to do with her for some bizarre reason. Won't say why. And she makes Sheila and Elizabeth be mean to her. Now she has no friends and she has to clean the entire corridor by herself. She's so mad that she runs back to the dorms, rips up that Blanche's pillow, put feathers all on the floor, eats Blanche's candy, and then runs off. At some point in time, the next scene, Matron comes in and tells everybody there's been an accident, that like Monica has died. I'm like, oh my God, a little kid died. I'm like, how? At first they didn't show it, and Matron's all like, she slipped on like a paintbrush with paint on it and fell down the stairs and died. Now there was the painter boy. He was the milk boy, a new person introduced this season. But here's the thing, that's not what happened. Hetty and all of them are upset, and Matron at first act like she's sympathetic, only for her to go back as business as usual. And of course, Sheila is devastated because she was mean to her before. But with the help of Hetty and the boys, they discover what really happened. See, The paint on the wall is blue and it's completely dry, but the paint on the columns is white and it's wet, which means the wet paint doesn't match that of the brush. So why was the paintbrush in blue and why was it down the steps? Somebody planted it like that. It was Matron. See, what happened was this. Nurse McAfee had a mop and she put it on the staircase because she couldn't go down there because that guy was painting, right? And she forgot. She left it there. Monica was running through the halls and saw Matron. Matron's all like, "You're late for class. Get to class." So she turns around and she goes down the steps, and we see her literally trip and on the well, we don't really see her. She's running, and then they cut 'cause they don't want to show a little kid dying and stuff. But basically, she tripped on the mop and she died. Matron knew exactly what happened and was devastated and tried to cover it up because she didn't want McInfield to be like upset, but she's willing to blame it on the little black guy. But this is the first time we ever see Matron literally upset, and that means she is devastated and stuff. And it was so tragic because it's just kind of like a child died. Not only a child, but an orphan child who doesn't know her real name or who her parents are. And this is the first time we ever see Sheila and Elizabeth upset because they know they treated her like crap. Even Blanche came around and was upset and stuff. And it was just an emotional, tug your heart kind of string episode. And what followed is that Hetty's all like, because Matron didn't want to give no funeral. And Hetty's all like, "Oh, we're going to remember her every day." So she had Sheila tell her stuff about Monica and she wrote it down. And the guys put it on the printing press and they posted it everywhere around the hospital on the gates and gave everybody a flyer. Now, the ramifications of this does go into the next episode, but only a little when it comes that of Sheila. Now, in the books, Monica does not die. Now, the problem I have with Monica's death is somewhat similar I have with Polly being written out, is that we barely know Monica and she's barely on screen. Like whenever she is on screen, she's kind of like in the background or with like Sheila and them, but she doesn't really say much and stuff. It's only towards the episode where she dies, where she actually gets to finally talk and do stuff, but it's not like much. You do feel bad because you see her getting picked on and bullied and stuff by Blanche. But you gotta remember also, she was a mean character in season 1. So it's kind of hard to feel too sympathetic for her, only because of how she was in season 1 and how little screen time she had in season 2. If they would have gave her more screen time or something else, then it still hurts, but it would have hurt a whole lot worse to see her die. Now, I don't understand why they wanted to kill off a book character. They could have killed off Elizabeth and stuff, because she's created for the show. Sheila kind of takes a back seat this season. She only snitches twice. Her and her friend's hair grew back, and she doesn't really snitch that much. She tried the first time and it just didn't work. And for the most part, she just keeps a low profile this season, but she's working mostly in the kitchen alongside Hetty, along with the new lady named that of Ida. And so she's upset about the whole Monica thing, but just a little, and tells Hetty you wasn't even friends with her, so why do you even care? Well, the thing about Sheila is that just like last season, Sheila does not want to be a maid. And she doesn't want to be working in service, and she wants to feel important. But if she has to work as a maid, she wants a very high profile job. So when that lady's looking for somebody for the whole testimony thing, she tries her best and she almost gets it, but she cheats twice by messing things up for Harriet and messing things up for Elizabeth. But they still picked Harriet anyway because they realized she cheated. And the thing is just that, she hates the idea of being worthless and not being loved by nobody. And in a very emotional scene, she breaks down to Ida, cries, and gives her a hug, saying that, she doesn't want to be a nobody in life. Like, she hates the idea of just being like nothing, and she doesn't want to end up like Monica and everything, because Monica never had, the only happiness Monica ever had was being with that of her friends. Everything else just sucked in her life, and that's how all the foundlings' lives are and stuff. And it's a really, really touching scene. It makes her very relatable, emotional, vulnerable, all this other stuff, until she messes up in the last episode. Oh boy, she snitched so hard, it brought tears to my eyes, man. Oh, that was sad. Ooh, that was sad, boy. The hollering and the screaming, boy. Ooh, that was sad. Ah. Anyways, Matron. Matron is still mean, but not as mean as last season, and not as sneaky and cunning. She still will sell people this and that, but she doesn't. It's like weird. It's like it's almost like night and day with her from season 1 and 2. Like I said before, she's still mean and nasty, but not as mean and nasty, and does all that criminal stuff as she did last season. But she is being blackmailed this season and stuff. Now, it was interesting to see her try to court that of Carbon and stuff. But it's even more interesting when she thought that the general liked her, or the colonel liked her and stuff. She really fell for him. Why? Money. The dude's in the military, so he got some money. And she wants out of, being a matron. She wants to explore the world. She wants to be rich and all this other stuff, but things are not working out her way. And when she finds out, when he rejects her, and he rejects her hard and stuff. And when she finds out, she interrogated all the kids until she found out it was Hetty. And she was furious. Because you got to remember, it's one thing to get rejected, but it's another thing to be made into a fool, and that's what she was. And love will really make you do some dangerous stuff. She threw Hetty in the trench overnight with no food whatsoever. And so now I started to get to some heartbreaking scenes in our last two characters. I don't really know who to go with first, only because they're both... Okay, well, here's that. I'll go with Ida first. Ida is the new lady who's working there, and she works in the food service. When the cook ends up getting hurt or something like that, she takes over, and she needs some assistance. Normally, her two assistants are always that of Hetty and Sheila. And she's a really kind and sweet woman. I think her last name is Battersea. Yeah, Ida Battersea. And so she's a really kind and really sweet and nice person. And she's always nice to Hetty, but she's always giving Hetty some odd looks. And she always pisses off the matron because, she tries to comfort the kids, and matron does not like that. She does get on to the kids, especially that of Hetty, but she ends up covering for her when she finds out about the secret hiding place. By the way, Sheila and her friends and Vince and Judd know about the hiding spot, but they never rat them out because of that for some bizarre reason. I don't know why. It's the biggest thing that they got on them. But anyway, when she finds out about it, and she finds out people or the staff is searching the kids for ink, a quill and paper because of the whole letter thing, she puts a lock on the door so nobody can go in and out that special tower place of theirs. And so she's always looking out for Hetty, and it's like, why? And so when Hetty got put in the trench overnight, it really rocked Hetty more so than the first time. And she snuck Hetty food and talked to her. And right before she's about to leave, she tells Hetty, I'm your mom and everything. Yes, Hetty finally found her mom and had no idea. And she's been under her nose the entire time. And now this happened in the books as well. And so she even tells Hetty what her real name is and stuff. Now in the books, Ida is not even her real name. Her real name is Evelyn. Eden saw. But they don't reveal her real name in the show. You just think it's Ida and everything, right? Now, in the books, Ida does die, but in the show, she does not. So let's get into Hetty right now. Hetty is still the same person she was last season, and but she writes a whole lot more this season. She always starts and end the episode with a monologue, narrating and stuff, and writing in her journal. Her journal is her very most important thing next to that of her token. And Ida has the same token as well. Now, Hetty differs from that of the books. In the show, after talking to that lady, the explorer, she wants to be a writer. That is her passion now. That's not like that in the books. In the books, she joins the circus and goes into like service and stuff. So that differs a lot from that of like, the books and everything because she wants to be a writer. The show took some inspiration from that of Anne Shirley. Redhead, likes to ride, orphan. Also, the writer of the books took inspiration from her as well. Why? I'm gonna take it as an homage, not a ripoff. Anyway, um, in the first episode is really tragic. Now, she still is at war with Matron, but she decides to be nice to Matron, which shocks Matron and everything because she's trying to get on her good side. That does not last long. Why? Because it's like Foundling Day or something like that, where tons of parents bring their babies in. So the kids are helping out. They have to get them numbered, and the staff has to get them like new names, and they have to get the parents' information and all this other stuff, right? Hetty knows all this. Hetty has been used to this for years and years and years and years. But yet, this one girl named Hazel really touched her because of Hazel's mom. Hazel's mom was just all like, when she found out she's about to get like a new name, she was upset. When she found out she couldn't give her one last hug, she was upset. And they all like, look, lady, you give your child away, that's it, time for you to leave, and everything like that. You are a person of sin and blah, 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 stuff like that. This causes Hetty to like, have an outburst in front of the governors and the colonel and matron and all of them. And so like, it's really interesting. I don't understand what it was about this one child. It could have been just the mother's love that really touched her because Hetty wants to know who her mom is and stuff. So Hetty literally does what she can to make sure that this girl knows what her real name is. Even though Hetty knows that, like, you're giving new names and stuff. Like, Hetty doesn't even know her real name, but she will in the last episode. And so, like, the lady tells her, tell her her real name, blah, blah, stuff like that. So Hetty finds out that some of the babies are going to her foster parents. So she rearranges the cards and everything so that her foster family can take Hazel. And she writes a note saying, like, this is her real name and this is her token and blah, 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 stuff like that. And it makes it to Jim. And this is when Jim sneaks back over and they're like, yo, foster dad's sick and I'm the man of the house, stuff like that. It was a really hard episode to watch because it was hard to see this woman give up her baby, hollering and screaming down the steps as they will not let her interact with them and stuff. It's just so sad that things like this happen in real life. And so, of course, Hetty is being Hetty. She's a lot more troublesome this season, always sneaking around. And it's funny how the kids sneak out. Like, whenever they need to sneak out, one person makes a distraction and they're just off. And Hetty is losing everybody that she knows and stuff. She lost Polly. And she did not want to lose Polly and try her best to keep Polly there because she hates rich, snooty people. Then the whole Monica thing happened. And she's not even friends with Monica and she don't like Monica, but she has a caring heart and everything. And, then the whole Harriet thing. And then Harriet left only to come back. And she doesn't even interact with Gideon that much. She interacts with Matthias a whole lot more. And so, Hetty is just like going through the motions and pissing off Matron and finding out about Blanche. And then Blanche betrays her. And then there's the whole like Eliza thing. So she has a lot of stuff to deal with this season. And getting put in the trench really broke her this time. She's been in it before, but she's never been in it like overnight. And she had no food or nothing like that. And when she got out, she was like a zombie, just like in a trance and stuff. Then Ida tells her about the whole her being her mom. And her real name is Sapphire, after her blue sapphire eyes. And so, like in the books, she starts to go by Sapphire, but also Battersea and everything, after Ida's fake name. In the show, she does not do that. She constantly stays Hetty Feather because Ida's all like, I know you now as Hetty, so that's what she stays by. I wish they would have changed her name because that's how the books are. Plus, that's her real name, you know what I'm saying? After this, she got a big, like hopping her stuff and everything. She's happy, she's smiley, she knows who her mom is now and stuff. And she's thrilled, but she wants to be able to visit her. But it's gonna be hard because the regular cook came back. Now, she's constantly making excuses to go and be with Ida in the Foundling Hospital, which is really dumb because she'll see her passing by, but she actually wants to spend time with her. Well, Sheila goes up into the tower and everything and overhears this conversation. And just like in the books, Sheila snitches on her. Now, what's really odd is like why? Sheila hasn't snitched since that first time in like the first or second episode. So why is she doing it now? Plus, her and Hetty is starting to get along a little bit more. So why in the world would she do this for? It was just because, the source material said so, but it was just so out of character this season. Ooh, when Matron finds out, she confronts her and is all like, oh, if Ida's even your real name, tell the truth. You're Hetty Feathers, like mother. And then she tells Crumborn, like, oh, we got joint custody now, so do your job and kick her out. He does not want to, and he hesitates, but he knows if he doesn't, Matron's going to take over for sure. So he kicks her out. Gideon finds out and he runs and he goes get Hetty. I'm telling you, the next scene that comes up will have you teary-eyed and choked up because you have Kernborn holding Ida by the arm and dragging her out as she's hollering and screaming she wants to be with her daughter. Only for Hetty to run out and scream Ida over and over and to Matron to grab her. There's tears, there's hollering, there's screaming. It breaks your heart to see somebody finally reunited with their parents only to have them ripped apart. And this is the second time this has happened to Hetty because her and Gideon got ripped apart in the first episode in season 1. After this, it's on between her and Matron when it comes to war and everything. And she's making sure she takes Matron down in the next season. And it's just like, it's just so heartbreaking, man. Like I'm telling you, it was heartbreaking and stuff. And they deserve an award for that performance, man. Because you could feel it through the screen and everything. And even to the point where Sheila realized, oh crap, I screwed up big time. Even she's looking sad and everybody looking sad. So Matron's all like business as usual and takes Hetty back into like the hospital only for all the kids to hold hands in a chain and all like, you are not going to pass. And we are never going to forget what you and Crumborn did and everything. And then they let them pass into the hospital. It's literally going to be an all-out war because they hate the Matron and stuff. Because if it happened to Hetty, it will happen to them as well. Now, Ida was unable to get Hetty back because Hetty is only 13, not 14, and Ida is not married. And, we find out next season she's in the workhouse and everything, and you don't want to be there. So yes, they really upped their ante this season with all the emotional tug strings and stuff. And it's much appreciated and everything because this is a very mature, like, television series. And it's supposed to be just a teen series and stuff. Now in the books it differs a little bit. I just started working there when Hetty was like 2 or 5, but like she doesn't meet Hetty until she's like 13 or so. But yeah, like when I say this is a good show, man, this is an amazing show. But it loses its way by season 5. It lost its way so much that it took a long time for season 6 to come out, and when it did, it was only 3 episodes. Happy Women's History Month, everybody. All right, well, I'll talk to you later. Bye.